In the 2020s, a pandemic crippled the world. Some panicked, some denied it. These two guys stayed home, drank, and watched movies. These are the Jaymeson tapes.
Hey, Abismi, I have a question.
Okay.
If my parents are dead and the phone rang and they said it was my parents, then who was phone?
Phone was phone, obviously.
Phone was phone.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Jaymeson tapes. It's a show where myself, Alan, and my partner, Abismi, we imbibe some drinks and we watch spooky-ass movies. And I'm going to start us off by, I have a shot of Jaymeson and about 3/4 of a pint of Strongbow dry cider. And I'm just going to go real quick and bloop. Okay, we're in business. I've done a Boilermaker. It's been a while. That used to be sort of a tradition. I've burped into the microphone, so I think we're ready to kick things off.
The ritual is complete.
What you drinking, Bisbee?
I was sick for most of this week, so I wasn't able to get any new exciting alcohol. I've just been doing more absinthe for this recording, but
that's a hell of a drink for this.
It definitely helped. Recently, I went to a local brewery called Bolt Brewing. If you're ever in San Diego, check them out. They have a beer on tap called Hard Pressed Orange, and it tastes like if Orange Crush were a beer. And it's very, very tasty. I just want to shout them out because I really like to shout out my local breweries.
I'm jealous of your bar scene because I'm trying to find a new bar. My local bar that I used to go to all the time did not survive COVID.
Oh no!
And I'm trying to find a new bar, and there's no middle ground. I can't find a good cocktail bar to save my fucking life. It's all just like tap houses.
Yeah.
But aside from that, we watched a movie. Aside from the Boilermaker I just did, I'm drinking Boulevard Wheat. Which I'm gonna make you drink eventually. It is my beer of choice.
No, I'm down.
We watched a movie, and we're typically behind the times here on this show. We record episodes ahead of time, and even now, people are talking less about this film, and we're just getting around to it.
We are very behind, but
it was the new hotness recently. We watched Skinamarink, and we have some thoughts.
A lot of thoughts. No matter your views on this movie, it traveled via word of mouth for a reason, and it is discussion worthy. I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say my overall takeaway from the film was positive.
Yes.
But, and we discussed this during the recording, like, I've seen two camps of reviews for this film, and one of the camps was all TikTok going, like, this new movie came out, and it's the scariest fucking movie ever, and it's gonna, like, your heart's gonna shoot out your asshole, you're gonna be so scared.
I just threw up my liver.
I'm dead now. And the other half, the other side of that camp is just been, yeah, this movie's just fucking boring. It's bullshit.
Nothing happens. Yeah.
Nothing happens. And I am firmly in the middle of both camps.
This is a very experimental film. So even giving it a fair shake, I think, should typically put you in the middle of, you know what?
Yeah.
It went out on a limb for a lot of things, but what it achieved deserves recognition.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm happy in general to see films like this succeed.
Yeah.
And this film has been a success.
Oh my god, okay. $15,000 budget. $2 million at the box office. And that, like, earnings aside, how did this get a theatrical release? Because this movie is on par with a YouTube horror ARG series.
For sure.
It opens up with credits that say, all of my Foley work is from freesound.org.
Yeah.
The site for YouTubers to get Foley sounds. Holy shit.
It'd be the equivalent of you going to a movie theater and seeing, like, parts of the soundtrack supplied by Kevin MacLeod at a Compotech.
What? Yeah, and there's cartoons on a TV, and also just as, like, background music. that are very much public domain that were taken from archive.org. Like, this is such...
Yeah.
This is the new definition of like low budget horror. Like,
Yeah.
shit was done for free. Significant assets are public domain stuff for free. That is just mind-boggling. I'm not saying this to say that this is not special and that this doesn't deserve its success, but it's crazy to think that something like this, that like if I saw this on YouTube, we'd be having a very different like discussion about it.
Yeah.
This, if this was Marble Hornets, we would be like, this is really cool, and I always wonder if this stuff would make it into theaters. And lo and behold, it has.
Yeah.
And I'm still like in disbelief that holy fuck, how did this make this into a theater?
Can you imagine being either of the two kids in this movie and just, you got filmed wandering around a weird house for a weekend, and now you're in a movie that's made like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Like, I was in Skinamarink, I was Kevin, or I was Kaylee. Holy shit.
So, do we want to get into it? Do we want to dive into it?
How do we dive into it?
Great question.
Yes, and how?
So much and so nothing to talk about.
It is a film composed, like I said, experimental. It is a film composed of a lot of still shots and then slow pans.
Yeah.
On mostly nothing. But
if you have a fetish for ceilings, you're gonna pop like 80 nuts.
You will need a lot of Gatorade after this movie.
15 minutes in, I've seen the fuck out of some ceilings.
Yeah, I like how everything is from a child's level of like perspective.
Yeah.
That's definitely cool.
That's definitely 100% what they're going for.
How to even frame this shit? So a lot of the shots are from a low level and angling up towards a ceiling or staying kind of ground level. And this is very readily apparent that we are looking from the perspective of a small child. Sometimes we see a child in frame, other times it's clear that we are from the perspective of a child, but like we never see our parents' faces. We often see our parents just their legs because we're that short. And everything is in a very desaturated, heavily edited, like playing with lights and shadows type of filter, and film grain. A lot of film grain, which I understand why.
Yeah.
And we tuned into this. The idea is that it not only in audio, but also visually, it obscures things. And it does a very good job of that. There's a part where we're told to look under a bed.
Yeah.
And that is probably the eeriest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Is just slowly looking under the bed, and we see nothing because of just how the brightness and the contrast is played with. And it's very scary. But it's also, this takes place in 1995. Film grain is not a thing. If this is done on a digital recorder or like a VHS, like you're really not going to see much of that. But you could also explain that away because of the old-timey cartoons. More of a nitpick, but you could achieve that effect with something else. But I'm also not going to tell the director like they did it wrong, because I don't know exactly what to make of this movie.
I see the director post on Twitter on occasion. Seems like a pretty cool dude.
Apparently they had a YouTube channel where they made videos akin to this based on nightmares. So very much in their wheelhouse. And yeah, I've never made a movie that grossed 100 times its budget, so I can't really talk.
I imagine they're as shocked about all this as fucking...
Oh yeah.
This movie premiered at a festival and got leaked several months ago. So all the hype that this movie got on TikTok was before the movie even had an official release. So the director actually made a post or something to the effect of like, hey, I'm really glad you guys all like my movie, but it's getting hard to get it picked up by anybody because so many of you are talking about having already seen it.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it did get a theatrical release, and then it got a Shudder release, and it's doing incredibly well. So let's talk about our experience watching it. I watched this film, and there was a point where I was just sitting here watching it, and the tension was building, and the dog touched my leg, and I almost pooped my pants.
This is both a pro and a con for this movie.
Yeah.
The opening 3 minutes is incredibly strong because it is just dark hallways, liminal spaces, shots of a ceiling, and then very slow pans. There's almost zero character interaction that you can visually see. A lot of it is just whispers back and forth. So this is an incredibly claustrophobic film, and we were
also in
very much on.
And also in the first 10 minutes, we're introduced into the protagonist, Phone.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm a phone.
You're in a movie right now.
Welcome to my movie.
Directed by Phone.
I am the star. Phone.
Yeah, we do see Phone, and Phone does a great job in this film.
Yeah.
But this is a very surreal film. It is very, very disjointed. Events that follow each other are not readily obvious. You are not really told what is transpiring.
Yeah. I have in my head conflicting theories about what is happening in the film.
I am very surprised that this has a 5-paragraph plot summary on Wikipedia.
Are you fucking joking?
I am not joking. They wrote that much, and a lot of it is just recounting what little dialogue there is in the movie. So, you could stretch that out, I suppose. But this is a nightmarish fever dream of just, there's so many parts where dialogue is cut off, where experiences are just cut. They're hard cut, and then you're somewhere else. And it feels a lot like an adult trying to remember something from their childhood, and all you have are bits and pieces. And if you had to stitch those pieces together, this is the most complete idea you would have.
Yeah.
And it's very much, I think I said this on recording, you're asleep at night, and then there's a sound, and you wake up in the dark, and your closet's open, and you think you see something, but to go tell mom and dad would require you to get out of bed and cross your room. And no, we're not doing that. So you just lie awake at night, and you're scared as hell. That's the pervasive feeling of this movie. Is just, it's dark at night, and you want to crawl under your bed. Except no, because something's probably under your bed.
Yeah. And sorry, I, because of what you said, opened the Wikipedia page and scrolled down to filming, and the cheapskate genius is even more than we originally thought. It was filmed in the director's childhood home.
Uh-huh.
Due to the limited budget, the film was made mostly using equipment borrowed from the local Film and Video Art Society of Alberta.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
All public domain cartoons. Yeah, no, that's fucking incredible.
The name Skinamarink is just from a song from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Yeah.
I know I'm skipping ahead, but it doesn't really matter with this movie. But when we actually confront the monsters somewhat head on, our Kevin, arguably the protag, not the real protag of this film, says, "What's your name?"
Yeah, the protagonist is Phone.
You're sitting there, you're thinking oh, he's going to say Skinamarink. Says nothing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's just the name from a thing in the past. That's not the monster's name. And
if there's anything that would have taken this over the line into ridiculous from scary, it would have been if that thing said its name was Skinamarink.
Yeah. I mean, one of the last things it said was also "go to sleep," and I was like, "Do not turn this into Jeff the Killer."
Yeah.
I swear to fucking God, I will riot. And it did not, thankfully. But I mean, segueing from that, this has creepypasta written all over it.
Okay. I think a lot of the people who are having such a "this is the scariest fucking movie of all time" reaction that Abysme and I didn't necessarily have, though we still appreciate the film, may not be as familiar with internet analog horror as Abysme and I are.
Yeah. This is someone's first time hearing the Russian sleep experiment.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that this is generation and genre defining. Analog horror has been blowing up in recent years to the point of being oversaturated, but it's gotten to a point where it can actually have a theatrical release.
Yeah.
And the wider public has to pay attention to it, based solely on how much goddamn money it made, compared to its budget of $15,000.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
So, what happens in this movie?
that's hard to say.
Yeah.
There are Kevin and Kaylee, brother and sister. Well, okay, it starts with Kevin kind of hearing something down the stairs. He's on the second level of his home and he falls down the stairs and his dad has to take him to the hospital. It's not too bad. He didn't even need stitches according to his dad, who I think is talking to his mom. Don't know.
Yeah.
And then after that, we have a lot of just disjointed shots and scenes of Kevin and Kaylee staying up late at night, watching TV, just hearing things upstairs and wondering why their parents aren't doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Then we slowly proceed to them investigating upstairs, and we establish that this entity is taking their toys and planting them on the roof, and that scares Kaylee. And then eventually gets to the point where objects start disappearing, like windows and toilets.
Yeah, the
Oh boy.
the toilet disappears in this movie, and they have to start pissing and shitting in buckets.
Yeah. Which is, we don't actually see any of that, but yeah, it's established, and
Yeah,
that's
if there's anything you could take away from this, from our analysis of this film, it does not show you children pissing and shitting.
very important. I would say the apex of this movie for me is Kevin, or is it Kaylee? I forget. No,
It is.
no,
It
it
is
is
Kaylee
Kaylee.
who goes upstairs.
Kaylee goes to the parents' bedroom. Mom and dad are sitting on opposite ends of the bed, facing away. Very, a lot of this movie is very a la the Blair Witch Project, that people just like staring off
And
into
important
nothing.
to note that when mom is there, dad disappears. So mom
Yes.
and dad cannot exist in the same space.
Yes, and we have previous mentions of why was mom crying? I don't want to talk about mom. Where did dad go? And that's kind of when we started to suspect, oh, this is about a divorce.
It might also be about
But
abuse. That's like,
could
I
be,
don't want to
yeah,
talk about mom, and then there's the whole part where mom says to cover their eyes.
yeah,
Abuse,
yeah.
neglect.
You get the feeling that Kevin and Kaylee have to kind of take care of
Yeah.
themselves and be on their own for a good amount of their lives. So Kaylee walks in and is told to look under the bed. We mentioned this before, but that is a very effective, slow look under the bed. Sees nothing though, but it does not matter at this point. It is such
Yeah.
a claustrophobic, dark shot that it really works well.
It actually kind of fakes you out because nothing under the bed, and then she talks with the mom a little more. And after nothing happens under the bed, you kind of relax a little bit. Then that's when you get the hand on the door scene. And then it's like, oh yeah, fuck you, shit.
Yeah, Kaylee's mom says to, close your eyes, and then Kaylee's mom disappears, and it's a lot of like sounds and things happen off frame, but are in the scene nonetheless. And we just hear almost like sexual moaning and bones breaking.
Yeah. Okay.
So mom's getting fucked by the Skinamarink. That's what I took away from that scene. Dad's not happy about it.
We can argue about the effectiveness of this movie all the live long day. My Apple Watch just gave me a notification about my heart rate. My Apple Watch right now is like, are you jogging? What the fuck's going on?
So I don't know what to make of that, but Kaylee goes back downstairs and just, Kevin says what happened. Kaylee does not want to talk about it, and I don't blame her. You know what? I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Kaylee's parents are sitting there scared, and someone tells her to look under the bed, which is a weird reversal because typically it's mom, dad, come in here. There's a monster under the bed. No, there's nothing. Don't worry about it. And this is kind of a weird switching of that.
Yeah.
And it's like they're scared, and they, I think Kaylee's mom says like, I'm sorry and I love you and I have to tell you something about your dad. There's a lot of something happened between the parents. We don't know, but something bad has happened and it's affecting these kids very, very negatively.
Okay. I'm thinking back to the idea of abuse. When the dad's on the phone and is saying like, no, he's fine. He didn't even need stitches. That circles back to the idea of maybe like he's trying to cover for something he did.
Oh, did he push him down the
Yeah.
stairs?
I could watch this movie like 15 more times and have like 20 more fucking theories about what's going on, I think.
it really obfuscates so much. I don't care who you are. There is no definitive. I cannot wait to see the fucking explained video on this
Yeah.
shit because it's going to be so hollow. I don't think there is any one answer, and I don't think there was intended to be. And even if there was, it is not constructed in a way to be like
Like,
discernible.
I have my theory now, but now my theory doesn't mesh well with the other theory, and god damn it.
It's such a fractured movie. You are just, there's so little information you're given, and the little glimpses, a lot of it is just emptiness. It's just still shots. It's just static. And what little pieces you get are so minuscule that putting it to, it's like the first Five Nights at Freddy's film, and we made a lot of comparisons already to
Yeah.
that. But it's like, yeah, if you squint hard enough, you can see some newspaper text. Does that explain everything? Hell no.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like, talking about this movie more makes me like it more maybe than I initially did.
Yeah, it's a very fun discussion piece, and
And
it is a
I didn't
shame.
dislike it.
No. I think our only complaint was like, okay, this needs to do something.
Yeah, this movie is an
Um,
hour and 40 minutes long, and I several times made the point, like, you could cut 40 minutes out of this film.
yeah, and I don't think that would hurt the pacing whatsoever because the pacing really like it's a constant beat the entire time. Long shot, abrupt cut, long shot, abrupt cut. So if you cut stuff out, it's not like you lose that rhythm. And I think, but of course, theatrical release. So I can't.
Alternatively, you could keep this movie at an hour and 40 minutes long, and just do more.
You also could
Yeah.
do that. And a lot of it is whispers between Skinamarink or the monster and a character, and a lot of it is just vague nonsense.
But
So
but
you could put in more.
maybe also the film's restraint is its strength.
Yes, I mean that's kind of the difficulty here. I don't know how you would make like this is an experiment. You can't say like, well, you should have done blank different. Well, then it wouldn't be this
Yeah.
film. I think you can argue it does stand on its own, but I think I brought up like if you saw this in theaters, half the people would walk out in the first 10 minutes because they'd be bored as hell. And then the other like third would walk out because they're too fucking scared. And the remainder would be like, well, I want to see where this is going. And I can't blame anyone in those three groups because that's just this film.
But 100%.
I do feel that it kind of runs afoul of the Paranormal Activity problem of audiences watching this are going to like probably get bored at some point and just start talking and waiting for something to happen.
Oh,
And
yeah, I 100% can't imagine watching this in the theater.
it would just, even if you had like great Dolby
I straight up
surround.
think in the dark with headphones on in your home is the perfect way to watch this film.
I think that's yeah. Like this is definitely made for a YouTube social media audience. It is made to be very intimate and personal. This would be hard to watch in a theater. I was running subtitles the entire damn time, and there are subtitles in the movie meant to like explicitly be there, but half the time there's not. And if I didn't have those subtitles on, I would not know what the fuck was said.
There were multiple times where I fucking said what, because I did not have closed captioning on, and I had to hear you tell me what they said.
I don't know. Like this is such an interesting film because does knowing what the subtitles said really change anything?
Yeah.
Not really. You can glean a little bit from it. Like at one point, Kevin, who has his parents are gone, his sister is gone. He's been told to stab his own eye by the monster and has called 911 saying like I hurt myself and I'm sick. And a lot of that was unintelligible. Would it really have mattered? You know that he's calling for help, and then he has to drop the phone.
Yes, he drops the star of the film phone.
I know you've been talking to phone.
I know you've been talking to international superstar phone.
Who then, as Sade has pointed out, turns into Phone Jr. Because we don't see Phone after that.
Oh.
Yeah. And turns into the most famous toy phone ever. The
100%.
Oh, man, that was a great touch.
This movie, it has, I'm going to say like 3 or 4 jump scares, but 2 of significant note. One of them being the 100% creepypasta ass jump scare, where we get loud noise paired with Kaylee no longer having a face.
And that was it's a shame too, because that was a great buildup because the voice had told Kaylee to go down in the basement, and then Kevin follows later to be like, "Kaylee, what's wrong?" And, like, she's laying down and then suddenly stands up, faces you. It's like those old
Yeah.
screamers, like, it's just oh, man. If I had to fix one thing in the movie, it may have been that, but again, this is from a child's perspective. This is what would scare a child. And it's tapping into what scares us as children. So you can still relate to a lot of this. There's still that long, dark hallway where you feel paralyzed and you don't want to go down the stairs. And it does that very well. It just does it a little too
Yeah.
much.
And the other significant jump scare is with Phone Jr., which is we see Phone Jr. and goes from dark to light, and then we get a loud ringing noise with Phone Jr. now having a wider smile. Like, the two other jump scares in this, one is just Kaylee getting scared and dropping a flashlight.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first real thing we can call a jump scare in this movie. And boy, howdy, did it get me.
Oh, man, yeah, no, that was very loud.
I've talked in the past about, like, earned jump scares versus unearned jump scares. I give this movie a solid pass. Probably the best thing I can say about this movie in general, and I think we mentioned it while watching this, is I think this movie accomplished 100% of what it set out to do.
Yes. And that is, for whatever criticisms we have of this movie, that what this director tried to do and what they accomplished is so respectable. Because, good lord, dude, just like doing so much with so little is a absolute rarity.
Sorry, I wanted to pour my beer in the cup, but my shot glass was still in the cup. And I was trying to snake it out with 2 fingers.
Doing so much with so little is such a rarity in these times. Not that can't be accomplished on YouTube, of course, but the fact that this has a theatrical release, like, I'm just in awe. I'm in awe that this happened.
Like $15,000. I could probably figure out a way to get $15,000.
Well, and it was crowdfunded too. So, like, and then a lot of that's not uncommon either. Whether or not those movies actually get made, number one, or number two, actually get released, they probably, they run some indie film circuit and they don't go anywhere else, which is fine. But this, like, he shot for the stars and he hit the stars. And that is just, like, crazy.
I think we've explained the bulk of the plot of the film.
What little there is.
Do we want to get into theories a little bit?
Man.
Or is there even a point?
I mean, I think every theory we have is based off of so little. And like you were saying, one conflicts with the other. We mentioned divorce, we mentioned abuse. There's the coma theory, because at one point, there's this text that says 572 days or something. That would explain how disjointed all this is. But is that too easy?
But then there's
the
other thing. One other thing we have to get to about the ending of this film is we talked about the possibility that maybe it's an unhappy marriage and maybe abuse is involved. There's a scene towards the end where we get repeated several times a shot of a giant pool of blood spattering on the carpet. And after like the third or fourth time it happens, our main character says mommy. Now,
and after like the third time it happens, then you start hearing laughter from the victim.
Is that Kevin calling for his mommy? Or did Daddy just kill Mommy?
Again, like, it's hard to reconcile what happens after Kevin falls with everything else that happens in the movie, because that could be Kevin's dad covering up something, but if it isn't, then it derails a lot of those other theories.
Yeah.
Also, the very beginning of this film, I still don't know exactly what happened. We have a shot of a hallway. Kevin walks in with something, and there's like, we're told in the subtitles that a tape starts whirring, and Kevin goes and wakes up his dad and says here, and then Dad fusses with whatever he has in his hand, and then Dad leaves, and then Kevin says like, Dad, where'd you go? And then that ends. And then we have Kevin at night going into the hallway and something calling him down, and then he falls. Yeah. And is that his dad pushing Kevin down? I don't know. I don't know what that means. And I just, there's the The theory crafting on this is going to be so skimp because nothing really connects well. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe someone's going to figure this shit out. But like, I'll have to take any theory with a grain of salt because I don't care who you are. So much of this shit just does not connect.
100%. And maybe it's fine that it doesn't.
I'm fine not explaining the movie. I'm fine letting mysteries be. I like not knowing sometimes. I like just wondering aloud. And I think, especially for films this disjointed, I think that really is the objective. Whatever the movie, the plot is, this is clearly shot from a child's perspective, and childhood memories are fragmented and incomplete.
Yeah.
And they, you look back on those times going like, that was fucked up. I don't entirely remember everything that happened. As if I can get a bit personal, my parents went through a divorce when I was older than Kevin and Kaylee at that point, but I don't remember everything that happened because I was young and because there was a lot of conversations that happened when I was not around, and I heard yelling in other rooms. I don't know what was said. So, if you asked me to recount like what happened with my parents' divorce, I could give you a fraction of the story. And it would be, the older I get, the less clear it's going to become. That's kind of why I'm really leaning into this whole divorce angle, or at least there's something going on, something bad going on between the parents, and the kids they're running away from it. It's all happening upstairs. So they're going downstairs. They're retreating to their comforts, which are their Lego toys and breakfast cereal and cartoons on their TV, but you can't hide forever. Dad, step on a Lego, fall and die.
Step. Goddamn kids!
God fucking damn it! Kevin, get in here!
Kevin!
Kevin, you're driving our marriage apart with your fucking Legos. Every night, Kevin, we step on them. Eventually, we posited that objects getting stuck on the roof or the ceiling was their world being turned upside down. And at one point, Kevin literally is asked to walk through a door, and he's on the ceiling. And he says, "Can I go back now?"
So
and he doesn't.
The toys no longer offer any comfort, and
right.
They're either going on the ceiling or even at points just disappearing.
That's another interesting visual theme. Things disappearing, like toilets are one thing, but windows have disappeared. You can no longer look out. The door disappears. Kevin is trapped. He can't get out. He calls 911 and says, "I'm in my room, but the door is gone." And I think that's kind of an obvious metaphor of just feeling trapped. But yeah, oh man, a lot you can read into. All of it very bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna circle back to a thing I already said and reiterate it. I like this movie more now that we've talked about it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm ever going to watch it again.
That's the thing. Yeah, like if someone's, said like, "Oh, did you like Skinamarink?" Hell yeah, kicked ass. You want to watch it? No, because it's going to be you and I sitting in a room, kind of just watching a bunch of filler, and then the person I'm watching with going like, "Wait, what happened?" No, just keep watching. But what happened? Nothing. Keep watching. Did something happen there? Yeah, but just keep watching. Wait, what happened? Well, let's talk about it now. And that's
if
fine.
Someone was like, "Do you want to watch Skinamarink?" And I'll be like, "No. You watch it, and I'll be back in 2 hours to talk to you about it."
Yeah. Call me when you're done. We'll have lunch. And that's fine. Not everything needs to be watched ad nauseum, but it clearly has left an impression
100%.
on us, and clearly it's very discussion provoking. And I get that people feel one of two ways about this film for the most part, but I hope it's not dismissive to the point where you don't want to explain why you feel like the way you do, because that, I feel, is very much a disservice to the movie viewing process. I watch a lot of stuff that I don't like, but I love talking about it, and that's kind of the nice thing about movies.
Okay. Do we have a Spider Room moment? Phone Junior.
Just the reveals of Phone Junior. The first one, not the jump scare, was just great for me. Oh.
Yeah, I certainly hope Sade plays some context for why we find Phone and Phone Junior so funny.
Hi, I'm Phone Junior.
Another one of those nepotism castings.
Typical child actor, got to edge in on his dad's acting career. The phone is definitely this movie's Larry.
Because it's an entirely a joke we created ourselves, is our Spider Room moment of this movie.
Yeah.
And Phone
Yeah.
Phone is the Larry of this
100.
So now that we have that established, my next question is we know how much a good bottle costs.
Mm-hmm.
But Bisbee, what's the best cocktail you could think we can make for under $20?
Oh boy. Like buying the ingredients themselves. Oh God.
Yeah. And I know that's a challenge, but this movie making $2 million off a $15,000 budget inspired this prompt. I think our cocktail for this movie has to be good, but impossibly cheap.
Vodka and Coke or a vodka cranberry.
So yeah, just a Cape Cod.
Yeah, like it has to be effective, but it also has to be like stupid popular. And then people like, because when I was in college and we were out drinking, you're a poor college student, so you find the quickest, cheapest way to get drunk. You're either pounding horribly cheap beer or just doing like vodka and Coke.
Hey everyone, shout out to the $7 charcoal vodka bottle. College students know what I'm talking about. Okay, formulating.
Fuck the cocktail and just drink moonshine.
Maybe we're approaching this the wrong way. I think we need a cocktail. We can have as expensive a spirit as we want. Let's go ahead and throw out the first thing I said. But it needs to be something that evokes childhood memories.
Well, back when I was 7 and drinking alcohol.
So if we could get a mixer involved that's like Capri Sun or Sunny D.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What if one thing I did when I went skiing years ago, I think I was still in my 20s, I made White Russians, but then I poured it into my breakfast cereal. I believe it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And that's about as like, yeah, there's vodka in it, but there's like Kahlua and milk.
Okay, I'm circling back because I think you may have stumbled onto something I actually want to drink now. If you made a White Russian, but used rum chata,
ooh, yeah,
to give it like that, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch edge,
that would be really cool, actually.
Garnished with a Lego, no.
Garnished with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or your breakfast cereal of choice. Toss a bit in there.
Does it need anything else beyond that? All right.
No,
I guess that's the Skinamarink.
Oh, I haven't liked something that much since fucking the Incredible Melting Liver.
Hold on. Hey, pause the episode. Wait, we're gonna do something unprecedented for this show. I have everything to make this right now.
Oh my god. Okay, I'll go pee and you go make the drink.
Hi, I'm back.
You.
Okay.
All right.
The ratios are probably weird. I did not shake it over ice, but we'll see. I'm going to try the Skinamarink right now. This is new territory for this show.
This is awesome.
Oh, that's goddamn delicious.
Yeah.
You could, okay.
Yeah.
Going back with our initial theme, you could get away with putting really cheap vodka in this. All the flavors coming from the Kahlua and I don't remember what the name is, but I have off-brand rum chata right now. But it's that you get that coffee and that. 2-ounce vodka, 1 ounce Kahlua, and about 1.5 ounce of our knockoff rum chata. So it's boozy.
Yeah.
But I get the taste of childhood from this, and it would definitely be better cold.
Yeah.
But this works.
Oh, man. Wonderful.
So that's the Skinamarink. And hey, everyone out there. Thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions, just go ahead and use the hashtag the Jaymeson tapes and let us know what you want to hear. Tag Creative Horror. We'll see it. I know we're all 3 months late to this, and all of you have already seen the Skinamarink. Oh, yeah, so and in addition to that, I don't know if we said this implicitly. Highly recommend. Yeah, watch the movie. Definitely. Not that we need to. Not that this needs any more hype or recommendation, but yes. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and call that an episode. I'm going to drink the rest of this because it is fucking delicious. Bye. Bye. The Jaymeson Tapes is hosted and created by Alan Cheney and Abysme. If you have a movie suggestion for the podcast, please leave a comment, message us on the Creative Horror Discord, or tweet @Creative Horror with the hashtag Jaymeson Tapes.
Creative Horror is a network of creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. Please visit us at creativehorror.com.